Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wine, Women, and Words. I'm Michelle, and with me, of course, is Diana. Hello. So we are in September. I can't believe it's September. That means that there's 3 months until Christmas.
I have one friend on Facebook who likes to post things like in June or July. There's only like 7 or less than 20 Mondays until Christmas. It's like no, I don't want to be thinking about that yet.
No, I don't do that. But the weather here, it's like all of a sudden the weather was like, oh, hey, it's September. So it was in the 50s today.
Oh, nice.
No, not nice. Because
You're not for that.
yesterday I had like a, mommy and me play date thing at the park. And when I was getting all of us ready and getting dressed, I checked my weather app on my phone and it said it was going to be in the 80s. So I was like, okay, it's a little chilly out right now, but it'll probably get warm when we go. So I wore a t-shirt and like a really light sweater over. And thankfully the kids, I dressed them warm, but it was freezing the whole time we were at the park. And I got home and later on that day, like cold, like not 70s chilly, it was cold.
Mm-hmm.
I got home and I looked at my weather app and I realized that I had Oceanside, California pulled up.
Oh,
when
no.
I checked the weather that day. And I switched over to North Chicago, and yeah, it was in the 50s all day. So that's fun.
Here.
So fall, I guess, is on its way, and winter is not far behind. And everyone says it's going to be a brutal winter this year because last winter was so mild. Take me to Paris with you.
I'm not going to save you from the brutal winter. I told you, as my plane flies overhead, you got to get ready to jump. Jump high enough. I can reach out and catch you and just pull you in.
I'll just start running when I see the plane.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's the right one.
Yeah, you should totally do that.
So this month, we are reading The Book of Speculation by Erika Swyler.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually think this is a book you bought a long time ago.
Yes. Yes, it was.
And then I bought it like not long after you did, but we never discussed it.
Well, you see, here's what happened. You bought the book. I'm sorry, my dogs are just acting up tonight. You think that I was never around. So anyways, I bought the book, I want to say a good 6 months ago. We're talking like early on in 2017. It was 20% off on at Target. It was their book club pick. It looked really interesting. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to pick this up. And of course, like all good book nerds do, I share it with the BFF. And she's like, oh, I'm going to pick it up too. And that's what you did. Like your next trip to Target, you pick it up. And you're like, and then I don't know if it was you or I want to say it was you who was like, all right, well, let's do this for Wine, Women, and Words. And then it was like, okay, when's our first available month? Oh, look, it's September. So this has been sitting on my to-be-read pile, and I've been eyeing it for many months because I'm like, nope, I gotta wait till September to read it.
I know. I feel like now that you say that, I do remember you telling me that you bought the book, and then when I bought it, I forgot that you had done it, so I sent you a picture. I was like, oh my gosh, look at this awesome book that I just picked up. And you're like, yeah, I told you about it.
Exactly.
I think I actually posted a picture on our Instagram account with this book back in February or March. It was right after we moved here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a while. It's been a long time coming.
Mm-hmm.
We will be having Erika on the show on the 27th. So we're actually going to be moving up a day. It's going to be a Wednesday.
Yes.
Because someone is going to Paris without me.
I don't know who that could be. I really don't.
So we are going to have Erika on the 27th, a day early, and then I'll have hopefully a special guest host to try to fill in for Diana while she's gone. But we all are also
go on.
It'll be my first guest host. I've never you did December when I was moving, so you know how to do it. I've never done Wine, Women, and Words without you.
It's easy. It's not the same. It's not the same. I didn't mean it that way. I meant it, it's easy without me. You just go and say, hey, be my co-host for the night and we'll talk about something.
Yeah, but not everyone finds my comments as funny.
Oh, I'm sure they do. And it doesn't matter if they find it funny or not, as long as you make yourself laugh. That's all that matters.
I'm very good at that.
It's like the Tierney family crest. The Tierney family crest is as long as you make yourself laugh, it's funny. The Giovinazzo family crest, though, on the other hand, is I'll sleep when I'm dead.
I don't even know what our family motto is. But this helps with the laughing.
It totally does. When you have a Stella Rosa.
I do. I got the Moscato because like a week ago it was still hot out and I felt like a nice white wine, and now I could probably go for a nice red wine. But I love Stella.
I do too. They have such nice wines. And they have a great history in California. I mean, they're one of the few wineries that survived Prohibition.
Really? I didn't know that.
I want to say they were the first winery in California. I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Interesting. What are you drinking?
I am drinking something so special that can't be found anywhere else in the world. I'm drinking Barefoot.
I was so intrigued. I was like, ooh, what did you find? And why haven't I gotten a text message about it?
And then you find out that it's Barefoot. Which, I mean, don't get me wrong. I joke about it because you find it everywhere. But it's a good wine. And it's one of those that goes to show that the price shouldn't be a turnoff for a wine.
Hey, I am waiting for that $5 new line of wine at Target.
Right?
I'm very interested to see what that is because that's right in my price zone.
Mm-hmm. That's what Barefoot was. When I picked it up, it was $5.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. I usually Target has a good selection, but it doesn't have like the fancy bottles of wine. Mm-hmm. So usually I won't go like
it's
$10. Usually my limit.
Mm-hmm.
No, the food store right behind Target has the good wines, and I can't go there.
Yeah, I have to limit myself every time I go to Total Wine & More. And then, of course, the husband and I are like children because it's like, if he finds out that I went to Total Wine & More and didn't get him some rum or a liquor of some sort, then, there's no living with him.
So anyway, because we can talk about wine and Target and Total Wines all night, we do have a giveaway this month, a signed copy of the Book of Speculation. The raffle or the
raffle it'll come up at midnight tomorrow. So U.S. entries only, and once you get the congratulations email, then you've got 48 hours to respond to us to claim your prize. And we're only giving away one this month.
Yes. But it'll be open all month, and it closes on the 26th, right?
Oh, shoot. I need to fix that. Yeah, it closes on the 26th. Thank you. I didn't even think about checking when it ended.
You're welcome. I got you.
Because it's automatically done so that it ends on, like, the following week. And I was so focused on when it would start. So the book.
Yes. Have you started reading it yet?
Technically, yes. I heard that sigh.
You mean I have to wait to talk about things?
So here's the deal, Professor Michele. The dog ate my homework. No, if you go on my Goodreads page right now, you'll see that I've got 7 unfinished books. One of which I had to hurry up and read enough so that I could review it on Monday, which was Woman Enters Left.
How was that? Because that's by Jessica Brockmell, who wrote Letters from Sky.
Yes.
Was it as good as Letters from Sky?
Yes.
Yes.
I liked it. It's different. It's really different. The review is actually up on Creating Her Story, if you guys want to check it out. But yeah, it's a different one. It reads a lot like it jumps back and forth time-wise, and it reads a lot like a movie script, which makes sense because the main character is an actress. So it's just this really, this unique style that's just refreshing, and I fell in love with it from the very opening sentence. So I'm about 3/4 of the way through that book, and I started this one, and I only got as far as like the first chapter today, because time and stuff and work. And I intended to read more, but I didn't. So this was my bad.
It's okay. I like being ahead of you in the book. It doesn't happen very often.
How far are you?
So I am on. Where am I? I'm on chapter 4, I think.
Okay.
I think. Let's see. Yeah, a little further into chapter 4.
Okay.
So
one of the things that kind of concerns me is it does bounce back and forth, but there's no designation between the bounce backs. You know what I mean?
No, there's not, but it's so different. Like even the writing style changes when it flips back and forth.
Okay.
So you can tell as soon as you go, as soon as you get further into, because the second chapter starts, you flip back to, it's like the 1800s that it flips back to. And the first time, chapter 2, I was like, wait, what's going on? But but from that point forward, you know exactly when you're flipping back.
Okay.
So,
good. And I really liked that first chapter. It's got this Alice Hoffman kind of feel to it, which I don't know if you've read any of Alice's books.
She's the one with the dove something, like the Dove Keepers, right?
Yeah, Dove Keepers. Yeah, that's one of her books. That's one of the few that I haven't read. But she also wrote Practical Magic. And one of the books that I'm currently reading right now is a prequel to that. And this feels a lot like her stuff. It's got this very magical kind of quality to it, or, very mystic-like.
It is. That's exactly how I would describe it. It's very magical, and even the way that she describes swimming and being underwater. It's like the water is a character, and the house is a character. Simon's family's house. And
the location is integral to the story itself, and I love that. I love when stories do that, where the location isn't just the backdrop; it's part of the story itself. It's ingrained in the story, where you can't take these people's lives outside of that location.
No, and exactly. And I was thinking about this because we have actual book club discussions going on this month with this book. So I was trying to come up with
engage and see your discussions.
It's super exciting.
Participation.
I was trying to come up with these super insightful discussion questions, and I wasn't having much luck. But one of the things I kept thinking of is, so basically, if you haven't started reading it yet, it centers around Simon, who has basically been abandoned by his entire family one way or another. Bless you. And he's kind of stuck.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I have it Did I sneeze on the camera? I thought I put it on mute.
Well, no, I saw you. I saw you dead.
Okay, all right. As long as I thought I muted it, I might not have. I apologize if I did not.
But the story opens on him at his childhood house, realizing that, you know, the next good storm that comes up is going to basically wipe the house clean off the map, which is kind of very well timed to current events.
I was thinking that too, where it's like, you know, considering the Irma and then all these hurricanes that are hitting the Gulf right now, I'm like, wow, this is this is timely.
But I kept wondering, like, why is he so tied to where into this town? Like, you can almost like taste the salt air when you're reading the book, and that may sound super cheesy, but that's the way that she describes just like him driving to work and passing all the old captains' houses. I don't know if you read that part yet.
No, not
but
yet.
It's just the drive that he goes on to work is beautiful. She's a very good writer.
Mm-hmm.
But the story is all focused on he gets this mysterious package in the mail, and it's this old book. You haven't gotten to that part yet?
I have gotten to that, yes.
Okay. So he gets this old book from a bookseller who stumbled upon it at an estate fair or estate sale, and he found Simon's grandmother's name in it. So he thought it would be valuable to him in that it involves his family.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a little bit of a mystery there. I don't want to give anything away because you haven't read very much into it, but so good. And it also involves, you know, the traveling circuses and the freak shows of the 1800s. So I know Diana has read several books about the circuses and the freak shows.
Old school circuses and the freak shows. I love the historic aspect of it. Some of one of the best books about that, of course, is Water for Elephants by Sarah Graham, which is just a beautiful book. Greer, who we had on July, The Magician's Lie. That one deals more vaudeville than circus. But still, that kind of gives you that kind of vibe. And there was another one. Oh, The Night Circus.
Yeah, that's the one that I thought of when I started reading this.
Yeah, I was thinking of both Water for Elephants and The Night Circus when I was reading this, or when I started this. And when you brought up, let's talk about those old circuses and things, I was like, yes, I love these. And fun fact, one of the things that I was actually doing was tweeting with Greer on Twitter, obviously tweeting, if you guys remember from July, Girl in Disguise. Kate was in the Pinkerton Detective Agency, and while I was eating my dinner tonight before the show, I was watching a documentary on the Ringling Brothers, which can be found on Amazon. And I'm just sitting here watching it, learning about the Ringling Brothers, and how it was like this group of like 7 or 8 brothers that were running this circus, and they really wanted it to be family orientated. But back in the 1800s. Lots of drifters, lots of pickpockets, lots of very underhanded people, unsavory people would show up at these circuses. And of course, people knew about that and didn't want to come and deal with a pickpocket. So they hired the Pinkerton Detective Agency to show up at the circus and watch for pickpockets and then arrest them. And they talked about it during the documentary. And I couldn't help myself.
So cool.
Right? Right? And I couldn't help myself. I had a tweet. I was like, I read one book about the Pinkertons, and next thing you know, they show up everywhere, just like in the documentaries on Ringling Brothers. And I tagged Greer, and she was like, what?
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it was so cool to like hear that and get a little bit about that.
I wonder if Kate was over there.
I wonder too, because this was in the early times, so it would have been when Kate was a detective, either just before she was a detective or while she was a detective.
And it would have been great for a woman to go through and watch for pickpockets because they wouldn't have been paying attention to her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Or they would have been paying attention to her thinking that she was a mark.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then
that's so
turn
cool.
around, oh, oops. You just picked the wrong pocket, buddy.
We're so funny.
Well, the more wine you drink, the funnier we are. So drink up, people.
So when we were trying to figure out what, I mean, as entertaining as we can be, we try to have a theme for each episode. So we decided to talk about, the history of the freak shows a little bit. And I think Diana knows a lot more because she was researching it for a while.
I still research it because I still have I love freak shows. I love old school circuses, and it's not so much the animal performances, because as much as I love animals and I love zoos and things, I don't like animal performances.
Mm-hmm.
But I love watching people do extraordinary things with their bodies that they can do, like the tightrope walkers. I meant tightrope walkers, not tightrope walkers. Yeah, let me just drink some more. The strong men, the acrobats, what you see in Cirque du Soleil, where all of those things that happen. I love watching that, and I love weird and interesting things. I really do. The more awkward, the better in some situations, much to my husband's chagrin. Sometimes I'll be watching something. I'm like, oh, I love it. It's so weird. And he's like, why do you like it? Because it's weird. So yeah, I'm that kind of oddball. So yeah, I know some history, a decent amount of it. But I assume you did some research?
I did do some research. So the first...
Well, I can count on you.
The first record, at least the earliest record that I found of a traveling freak show, was back in the 1630s. And it was, you have the original the Siamese twins that everyone knows, which was Chang and Eng Bunker. Mm-hmm. They toured in the 1800s. In 1829, they started performing. Mm-hmm. These twins started touring in the 1630s, and their names were Lazarus and Joan Battista Colorado. So they toured in 1630s in Europe. They're from Genoa in Italy. But they weren't conjoined twins in the sense that you would think of the Siamese twins. But it was really uncomfortable to see, because basically it was what's called now parasitic twins. So Lazarus was the mobile twin. He could walk and talk and move. And the other twin, Johann, I guess you would say, his upper body and his left leg stuck out of Lazarus's stomach. So he was kind of hanging upside down.
Oh my goodness.
And I found a sketch of it on a Google search, and it just looks like, ugh. So he couldn't talk, but he blinked and breathed and drooled, and he moved, but he wasn't aware of what was going on. Mm-hmm. But so they were the first traveling freak show. They went all over Europe, and then they died sometime after 1646, but the exact date of their death and the reason I wasn't able to see. So if anyone has any information about that,
that's fascinating. Yeah. And I just, my thoughts are with the way he's situated. That poor mother. How in the world did she give birth to him?
I found a study that a doctor did of the twins, mm-hmm. And it was I could have read that all night, but I was running out of time, and I was like, okay, well, I don't want to learning about freak shows here. You need to get like the full picture, not just these guys. But yeah, he said that Lazarus had a wife and had like 7 kids. And
so the guy that was functional had a wife with 7 children, and
I want to say 7 kids. It might not have been that, but I believe I read 7 sons, 7 kids. Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. I mean, let's not talk about that, but let's talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, the torso have arms. I'm just like, and that's just so just. Oh my goodness.
That was a woman who loved all things weird.
Yeah, she's got me beat. Cause yeah, that's just, yeah.
Everyone is trying to picture it right now, and it's really gross.
That's literally what's going on in my head, and it's not a pretty picture. Well, according to the Ringling Brothers documentary, circuses can be traced back to the Roman times.
Mm-hmm. You watched that. You tell us about that, because I did not see that documentary.
You know, I've watched most of it, and it was, you know, it was interesting once they got beyond the whole, hey, Ringling Brothers is the best thing ever, which is also kind of sad since, you know, they just closed down. And once they got beyond that self-serving part, it was interesting. Sorry, my kids are acting up. Because, you know, they decided, okay, it's time to wrestle. Mom's busy. So basically with the Ringling Brothers, as I mentioned, there were about 7 or 8 brothers. And the father did this trade work, which I missed. And it was during a time where people were, you know, it was a wealthy time in the United States. People were doing well, but Dad wasn't doing well. And he had this ideal that though his business wasn't doing well, it was honorable for him to stay in the business. And he was a German immigrant to the United States. And you know, he just had to keep in that business. This was his trade. This is what he did. You don't change. You just move to where the work is better. And he kept moving the family. And they kept getting poorer and poorer. And then the brothers just kind of became obsessed with the idea of a circus. A riverboat circus came through. And they started it up. And they got interested. And they got into the business. And one thing led to another, and they ended up with their own circus. And it really was a family affair where these brothers were all very smart people. Of course, this documentary is already a little bit biased to begin with, so let's just get that out of the way. But one of them was really, really good with numbers, and so he handled all of the accounting for the circus. Another brother was in charge of advertising. Another one was the one who was in charge of all the shows, making sure all the shows went through. Everything was okay with the shows. Another was in charge of animals. So everybody had their role to play. It was a team effort. There was no fighting between the brothers, which is just so unique because you don't see that so much anymore. You see all these siblings just knocking along, all of them fighting. But these guys, they got along. They all had a role to play in the business, in the family business, and they kept to that. They kept to that role, and that was really cool to see. In that,
that's interesting because, I mean, you hear, you know, you see the family businesses that are super close knit when they start out, and then they get successful, and that's when it starts splintering. So it's nice to hear that didn't happen for them. I mean, it might have further down the road, but
well, you know, I mean, there was some when one of them died. You know, there was some well contestation, which, you know, happens. But apparently, going into it, they were all very close to each other. They were a close-knit family with this strict religious type of upbringing. And not super religious, but, you know, your standard, you know, German Protestant.
Run-of-the-mill.
Yeah. But they had a strict conservative upbringing. And that ended up playing out well to them in the business, like to the point where they didn't have any debts. Unlike other businesses, they refused to have any debts, to the point where they didn't make any money on one show. So they snuck out of the hotel they were staying at so that they didn't have to pay, and they went to the next town over. And the show was doing really well, and the innkeeper comes over to, you know, demand his money, and they're like, "Oh, here you go. Thanks for coming by. It saved us the stamp." Because they were gonna pay him anyways. They just didn't have the money when they had left. So it was interesting.
That's nice of them.
Yeah, they seem quite wholesome.
Sorry.
It's okay.
But then, so, you know, when you Google history of freak show, you get all the pictures of like the bearded lady and the original.
Alex Hoffman did another one. Did a book. I need to look that up. It wasn't so much like freak show as in it went from location to location. It was like stationed on Coney Island.
Ooh.
It was like one of those freak show houses.
Yeah, wasn't there? I know that there was a book, and I'm not being helpful right now because it's like, oh, it's that one book about that one person who does that one thing. But it was about
extraordinary things.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, that was Alice Hoffman's book, and it had the
mermaid, right?
Yeah, the mermaid girl in it. Yeah,
that's right, and that's what Simon's mother was.
Mm-hmm.
She was the mermaid for a traveling show, and that was her thing, that she could stay under breath. She would hold her breath for like 11 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, is that even possible? Can someone actually hold their breath for 11 minutes?
I don't know. That's a good thing to ask. I know I wouldn't be able to.
Rich is nodding yes.
Oh yeah, Navy guys should know that.
Do you know like the record for holding someone holding their breath underwater in the Navy? Talking to the gentleman in the white t-shirt. Oh, he's Googling.
Oh, fantastic. We've got a fact checker in the background for us. I feel so special. We're like a real show now.
19 minutes, 30 seconds.
Holy cow. Did you hear that?
No.
19 minutes, 30 seconds.
Holy cow.
That's almost an episode of Friends.
Yeah, it totally is. And wait, there was the episode of Friends. Remember the episode where Joey was holding they thought Joey was holding his breath?
Oh, sorry. Technically, it's 22 minutes, 22 seconds.
Oh. Well,
which
okay.
basically is an episode of Friends.
German freediver.
From a German freediver in 2012.
2012.
You heard it here first. Probably not first, but you heard it here.
You've heard it here, yes. We'll pretend like it's the first.
It's in the World Guinness record, so it's legit.
Oh, and that's from the Guinness Book of World Records, so it's legit.
It's legit. You know, and
how can someone hold their breath for 22 minutes?
Google it.
I'm not doubting you. I'm just saying.
How can really good lung capacity?
He clearly doesn't smoke.
Yeah.
Also talking to the gentleman in the white t-shirt.
And I'm sure he's like super healthy, does a lot of running,
He probably does yoga. I feel like you would do yoga to be able to.
He probably lives in a high altitude place.
I don't know.
The air is thinner up there, so it takes more to breathe.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. Rich is suggesting that he probably lives in a place with very high altitude.
Do they have really high altitudes in Germany?
Plus, he's a diver, so he probably limited the amount of air that he was receiving while diving, so that way it can strengthen his lungs as well.
Getting a lot of information from the fact checker tonight.
Well, and I could see that by practicing with his dives. That I don't think Germany's that high of an altitude. Maybe the Alps, but I don't know if they go up that high. So in my head, I'm comparing it to my in-laws have had Danish and German foreign exchange students. I know at least with the Danish foreign exchange students, they're not used to like the mountains like we have here.
No, people from New Jersey come to California and they're like, "Oh my God, mountains!"
Yeah. my relatives from New York, they're like, and we thought the Adirondacks were high.
But I hold my breath when I'm rinsing my face after washing it, and I have like a panic attack from holding my breath and not being able to breathe. So I don't.
When I'm swimming in the pool, if I go underwater, of course, I try to do the whole breath hold thing, and I can't make it the full length of the pool. I know that's really bad. But in my defense, I have a long pool, so, I'll try to save face here.
I think I haven't gone swimming, like go underwater swimming in so long that I think I forgot how to hold my breath, because I'll go under and I'll have to come right back up.
It's amazing how much you remember. It just comes back to you really fast.
Well, I hate the water, so.
I enjoy it because it's like, I love mermaids and I love snorkeling.
See, even snorkeling, I did snorkeling for the first time ever last year when we went to the Dominican Republic, and it took like a lot of mental strength to not freak out when I had my face in the water.
What happens for me when I actually get into the water for the first time is I actually have a mild like panic, like my breath's just, I'm grasping for breath for like a good 10 seconds when the very, very first time I go under. But then after that first time, I'm just fine. And I had fun because I'm like, the only thing I don't like doing with the snorkeling is diving under. When I'm snorkeling, I get nervous about that. But yeah, otherwise I'm like all over the place. I'm like, oh, I'm a mermaid. Look at me go. And like when I was in Fiji, I got to actually chase an octopus, which was awesome.
No, I was fine snorkeling until like I looked up and I saw how far away we were from land. And then that's when I realized like, oh, I'm getting kind of tired. And I also realized that it was not a pool and I could not stand up. And there were no lifeguards, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go back to the beach and read my book and drink my margarita.
Well, one of the things I loved when we did Fiji, one of the tours we did, they actually took us out to an area on a boat, and we went snorkeling. And they have these the reefs is just like Finding Nemo, where you've got the ocean bottom, and you can kind of see the ocean bottom, but like several feet high are these like plateaued reefs, and you've got all the sea life on top of it and around the side of it. And we were in what the locals actually called it Nemo's playground, where we were snorkeling. Aww. And it was one time, it was funny because I'm snorkeling and it's my husband and a friend of ours, and we're snorkeling, and my goggles kept fogging up on me. And so, because I love the goggles, but yet I hate the goggles. And, I like pop up and I'm like just treading water, fixing my goggles. And all of a sudden the guy in the boat, he's just playing on his phone. And then he sees me just kind of pop up and like bob and tread. And he's like, are you okay? Is everything okay? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine, dude. I'm fine. Everything's good. Oh, okay. And goes back down to his phone. And like, yeah. And our friend from New Zealand was with us, was by me at the time, and he just started laughing because he was like, everything, and he was like, you are okay, right? I'm like, yeah, my goggles just fogged up. I'm fine. I'm okay.
You will know if I am not okay, because I will be moving much differently than I am right now.
Everybody within a 10-mile radius will know that I am not okay if I am not okay. I have got great yelling lung capacity. Those of you who are listening, I'm sure you know, because I am known to be a loud talker, especially the more I drink.
I'm trying to think, we have our fantasy cast. That's like one of our favorite little pet projects, and I can see who I want for Simon, but I can't figure out who he is.
I was thinking about that too, and I was almost seeing Channing Tatum.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he's got to have the black hair, the dark hair, because Mom had black hair. So odds are he's going to have dark hair.
See, and my mentality was, he can't be, for some reason, he is not, like, he's handsome, but he's not like, oh my God.
I don't find Channing Tatum to be, oh my God. I find him handsome,
that's why, but I do.
I'm sorry, I feel that way about Tom Hiddleston. I don't quite feel that way about Channing Tatum. So you now know where my tastes lie.
Oh, hold on.
Okay.
Who did I just see? I just saw
I was thinking
someone.
Jake Gyllenhaal might be good too.
Oh, that would be a good one.
Yeah, because I mean,
I like that one.
yeah, because I would also think they might have to have this swimmer's body, where they look like they've done.
Yeah, because he is a swimmer. I mean, the whole opening scene was him going out and putting the anchors back for all the buoys, and he just walked underwater. Like he just walked in with all these anchors and chains on him, and he just goes straight underwater. And he was down there for like 9 minutes. So he's like just like his mom, except. And I love that. I mean, I don't know how it goes further in the book, but he has absolutely zero anger towards his mother, at least at the beginning. Like he just talks about her so lovingly, and he just like it's like mentioned in passing, like, oh, by the way.
Well, before she killed herself, yeah, his favorite memory was just before she died, which is kind of strange to have that as your favorite memory of your mother.
Or to have any memory involving her and the water, since that's how she died, was she drowned. Like, I feel like I would block anything involving her and water.
I don't think I would block it, but I wouldn't like the water anymore.
Yeah, that too. And you haven't met his sister yet, have you?
No, she just left a voicemail on the phone. And so I've got no idea who she is.
I don't know how I feel about her yet. I feel she's like the free spirit, but not in a good way. I feel like she's, so if we're going practical magic, she's
Nicole Kidman's character?
Yes, Jilly. She just gets into trouble. That's what she does.
I could get behind that.
Are they making a sequel to that movie? Oh no, they're doing the prequel to that movie.
Yeah, that's one of the books that I'm reading right now.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily. I don't know if they're doing the prequel, like movie prequel, but I know there's a book prequel. And that's what I'm reading.
James McAvoy. That's who I was thinking of.
Yes. Okay. Official casting: James McAvoy. He would be perfect in that role.
Goes against my can't be too good looking because James McAvoy is beautiful.
He is.
I think
he is, but that's okay because I mean we do want to have nice guys to look at on our in our movies. So I mean that works. And you'll meet Alice, and of course, anytime I hear the name Alice now, I always think of the Magicians. So I'm already picturing Alice from the Magicians. But this one has red hair, right? Because he's already talked about her briefly in the first chapter.
Yeah, she has a thick red braid. That's her first like actual when he is interacting with her. She has a red braid, and he's kind of like hypnotized by it.
Oh, nice.
But we won't cast her until you meet her because I need your input.
Okay. I think I can get behind that. And it's nice to see redheads in like character roles because redheads are a dying breed.
I saw an article about that there are fewer redheads being born.
They're actually becoming more and more rare.
And for a long time, Landon looked like he was going to have strawberry blonde hair.
Yes, I thought he was going to be a redhead for a while too.
I did too. And redheads, my grandmother was a redhead, so it was possible. But he's blonde.
He's so sad.
But he still has his curls. Oh my gosh, his curls, you guys. I can't cut them. And his hair is long. Like when you get his hair wet during bath time, his hair is almost as long as Lily's. Not quite that long, but it's long. We could do a nice man bun at this point, like one of the legit man buns. And
no man buns on toddlers. No mini.
I won't. I'm just saying you could do it because I don't personally like man buns.
If you can do a man bun on a kid, I think it's time for you to cut the kid's hair.
No. I would be so scared that the curls wouldn't come back.
This is you're talking to the person who has this weird thing with hair where I wasn't allowed to cut it for a number of years. I wasn't allowed to cut my hair until I was in high school. And so it was down like almost to my waist. And I've got really, really thick hair, if you guys haven't really picked up on that. And so it was a lot to maintain and take care of. And I'm like, I see you, and then my friend Amanda went through this too, where her son, he had those lovely curls and they were almost shoulder length. And I mentioned something about cutting them, and she gave me the dirtiest look. And I was like, I honestly don't think I'm gonna be one of those mothers who gets attached to the kid's hair.
It's
the first haircut
to that point. Like, I know it's gonna come eventually, because I mean, and I don't think he doesn't look like a girl at all. Like, his face doesn't look like a girl. He dresses like a boy. But so many people say,
"Oh, I can't wait to see those cheeks."
What a beautiful girl. It's a boy.
They still say that to you? That it's a girl?
I don't hear it as much, but we went out to dinner the other night and someone said it to Rich, and that's like, if you're going to say it to one of us, don't say it to him. That's the wrong person to say that to. Because I'll be polite and be like, oh, it's a boy. Or I won't outright correct them, but I'll be like, oh yeah, he's almost 2 or something. I'll insert the pronoun.
So what did Rich say?
He just looks at me and goes, he. All that blue clothes really gave it away, huh?
Oh, Mr. Nice Guy.
It was nice and blunt.
That was nice. I was just blunt. That's all.
And it's interesting with the whole gender construct thing, how people take it, and, the how we interact with children and gender is really, really fascinating. Because I studied child development and sociology. That was a big chunk of my degree. And yeah, I had to watch all of those studies on that. And then they redid one of the studies that I had actually had to read, where they took a child and they dressed it in different clothing, like a young child, like an infant, where they're androgynous, so you can't see what gender they are when they have clothes on. And they dressed the boy as the girl and the girl as a boy, and they watched how people interacted with that child differently based on how the kid looked. So it's a fascinating construct.
Well, I mean, Landon doesn't care. He's obviously too young to know. Mm-hmm. And Lily walks around after him, calling him handsome guy. So
he's gonna be raised as a boy, whether he likes it or not. He's gonna be identified as a boy.
Well, I'm looking forward to like the first day of like kindergarten or whatever, if handsome guy, because for those who don't know, when he was born, my mom started calling him handsome guy. And apparently, I just found this out, it was supposed to be just her nickname for him. Mm-hmm. But Lily started calling him handsome guy, and I started calling him handsome guy. So now Lily introduces him to people as handsome guy. She'll say, my name is Lily, and this is handsome guy.
So when he goes to kindergarten, he's not gonna answer roll call, and they're gonna be like, well, what's your name? And he's gonna be like, handsome guy.
I'm really excited about that phone call.
My stepmother-in-law, when she was in she taught kindergarten for a number of years, and every year there were a few kids in the class who wouldn't answer to their name. They thought their name was Mommy or Poppy, because and cultures, they'll just call their kid Mommy or Poppy, and there are a few kids who actually thought that was their name.
When we're out, and if I'm talking to Lily about Landon, I'll say, baby is doing this, or, handsome guy is doing that. And I'll say Landon, and she knows his name is Landon. Mm-hmm. But for people who overhear us and hear me say, what's handsome doing? Or where's handsome guy? And I can just imagine them going, they named their child Handsome Guy. Are you serious?
It could be worse. You could have named it Apple.
True.
Or some of those other weird celebrity names, or some of the ones that they try to get through. Somebody, I think, wanted to name their kid hashtag.
I heard that a restaurant, I want to say BJ's actually, I could be wrong, was like gonna pay someone to name their child Quinoa. No.
You know what? That's not a bad name. I mean, really.
Well, there are no bad names if we're going to be fair, but there are some names that you might want to rethink, I think.
True. Very true. Oh my goodness, it's 9 o'clock almost.
I know, it is 11 o'clock almost.
Yes. Well, so for next week, read as much as possible on the Book of Speculation. We will have discussion questions up on Facebook and lovely pictures and things and some discussion questions up on Instagram too.
Yes, and we'll post the link to the giveaway, so be sure to enter that. And
you get two. You have two options for entry. You can subscribe to Wine, Women, and Words, or you can follow Erika on Twitter.
So read and follow and post on our discussion questions on our Facebook page
And then we've got lots of fun things planned for this month too for our guests and things.
I know we do have a lot going on, don't we?
And they're all thematic with the story, with different aspects of the story. I feel so proud.
Sometimes we have our act together.
Yeah, sometimes I'm like a professional and shit.
Weird.
I know. All right, so next week we're going to have Susan. All right, let me see if I can pronounce this right. Bellafuel. And it's called The Path of Lucas, The Journey He Endured. And this deals with, Lucas. It's a family story based out of Ontario, and about his, I think, what led him to his suicide or something, or apparent suicide or something of that similar nature. I haven't been able to read too much into it, and we're going to talk to him more about it, so we'll get more details. But it relates back to, of course, the Book of Speculation, where we have a parent who, commit suicide. So we get to talk a little bit more about that in detail with Susan and those experiences and things. And then the psychic, we're going to have her on. Have we confirmed her yet?
We're still working out details, so hopefully, I mean, for all I know, she already knows what date. She is just waiting for me to suggest it. Who knows?
Well, hopefully she could come on the 21st. That's my suggestion. We were supposed to have her on in August, but unfortunately Landon got sick. So family comes first. And we had to make sure Handsome Guy was taken care of.
Handsome Guy is still handsome.
Yes, he is. And that's going to be my name for him now, too, is handsome.
That's what Lily has dropped the guy. Now he's just handsome. What's handsome doing?
He's not going to have an ego or anything.
No, oh my gosh. He's with Rich as his father and every woman he knows calling him handsome. He's going to walk into high school like, I have arrived, ladies.
You're going to have trouble. And let me tell you, my little brother, he had a fan club from the time that he was in kindergarten. Or I remember distinctly my stepmom and my sister telling this story where they drop him off at school and he gets out of the car and there were these group of kids. He's in kindergarten. And these group of girls are like, "Hi, Will," as he's getting out of the car. And my sister and my stepmom look at each other and they're like, "Oh, God." At the same time. Yeah, you're going to have that. And
except Lily's going to be standing there like, step off.
I don't know, possibly not so much with a step off, so much as, she's got her own little world and she's going to be like, "Oh, those girls."
As long as they don't bother me, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Because this is the Lily show and we're all just characters in it.
Exactly.
Mhm.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you very much for joining, and keep reading, and check out Facebook and Instagram for more stuff.
Yes. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.